This government meeting is brought to you by Eastworks and our local cable subscribers.
Welcome to the December meeting, so the last meeting of 2023. We are missing Nancy.
Yeah.
And then there was a guy, Jim, who joined, but he's never come, so I think he is being removed. I don't think he answered messages. There was somebody else who wanted to join, and she said she would be here, but she also just had surgery. So I don't see her. But we definitely have a quorum, so that's good. I forgot to send you guys the minutes because my computer is giving me a hard time. So next month we'll have to approve 2 sets of minutes. And then we had a speaker, Parks and Rec, and then he wrote this morning and said he wasn't feeling well, so he canceled. So it has to become next month. So we'll see about that. And I don't see anyone from public speak unless you want to say something, Karen. No, you don't have to. Okay, so let's see. So Eli, let's start off with something different. Let's start off with what you wanted to do with the letter.
Yeah, so I feel like the purpose of this commission, the reason why we're required to exist, right, by state law, is that we're supposed to be advising the city on disability related issues, but the city never really comes to us and asks us for advice on anything. And so I thought, I feel like we should be part of the, like a built-in part of the process of, right, of doing things, of approving a project or something, is that you come and show the project to us and get our feedback, which is what we did when I was on the Amherst Disability Commission. And so I thought we should write a letter to the city council asking them to do that. And I tried to write a draft, but my brain wasn't working. But that's my idea.
Really assert ourselves and restate that we should be an integral part of the process.
Right. That, part of the workflow, like where in the process does this happen?
Jeff, in terms of what our mandate is, are we supposed to literally be advising everyone, or are we supposed to be advising the city planning department, and you, by virtue of being at those meetings, are receiving said advice? Do you know, because I agree we should be more involved, and I'm wondering what formally the process is.
I mean, I don't think there is a formal process currently, so I think there's some merit in what Eli is suggesting.
But in terms of council, commissions on disability, are they supposed to be involved in every city department, or is it just construction and stuff? I don't know. It doesn't say.
It doesn't say. I think Eli did a good job of describing the purpose of the commission is to advise, but that, other than that, it's not specified currently.
Who and how
I think is really important. I mean, there are lots of boards and committees, and only very few actually have authority.
Yeah.
And I think you should. I'm willing to help. My clarification would be that I'm part of I'm a member of the Commission on Disability as the ADA coordinator,
Yeah.
not necessarily like
As
as the city planner and that kind of thing.
Okay.
So it's always been a little bit confusing even for me, my role
okay.
and I'm sensitive because I'm sitting with you guys but I don't automatically, I don't automatically do something because I'm attending the meeting, but maybe that's part of what we need to talk about. I didn't see the draft letter, but I think the only other thing I would just throw out there is I think there is a difference between approving a project and offering input.
Right.
Because I would just argue that I think it's gonna be hard to get to the point where like the Commission on Disability approves or disapproves of a project, whereas
Right.
part of the process of creating a project or as a project is developing, you have input, and that
Right.
that's reasonable. I think that's something
Yeah.
that we should work on.
Yeah, I know we're an advisory committee. We don't have the authority to right, to approve or
Right.
prevent a project from
Sure.
going forward, but I feel like we should have the opportunity to give feedback.
Yes.
Stan, go ahead.
I was under the impression that our role with the city is to advise the mayor. And that's the only thing I saw, in the Easthampton website in terms of, who we advise.
Right.
Yeah,
It does say that.
and also like, I think it's too much, I think it's unreasonable to expect us to be like monitoring everything that goes on in the city and, and tracking, like, and learning all the details about them on our own and tracking people down and giving our feedback that way. The reason why there's a Commission on Disability is because that should be the forum for us to give our feedback.
Right.
Can I add two other things I was thinking about? Just that it's similar to the ordinance that you guys have talked about in terms of the accessibility ordinance. I think that there's going to be a clear path for the commission to provide input on city projects. So that's one thing. And then there's private development projects, which get approved by like the planning board. So we should work on whether there's an element of the Commission on Disabilities work that could provide input to the planning board. That's going to be harder. It's always harder to get involved with private projects, but like city projects is a good place to focus on. I know at one of the meetings, Eli, you had raised an issue with the crossing on Payson Ave. So that's a good example of a shortfall in the process. But I would want to argue that, we did invite the Commission on Disability to attend the Main Street design meetings, which are in process. There hasn't been a meeting in a while. And there was another project, I think, I guess I wanted to mention Union Street. That project got formed in like 2015 and 2016. So we all missed the boat on that one. Yeah, I wasn't even here at that point either. So let's figure out how to put together the request to city council. I think the question would be, what are we asking city council to do? Do we need to create an ordinance or a policy or something else? That part's not clear to me.
I mean, I guess if the city council was doing it, it would come in the form of an ordinance,
Probably.
right? Right, that would kind of lay out, it would basically have to lay out a kind of workflow, right? For projects that included us as, right, that included us, right? And that put our, right, where the project was explained to us and we would give our feedback and that would be part of the record of the project. So that if we made a suggestion or if we objected to something, like that would be there for everyone to see. And then, right, and they could, right, and they could try to find a solution or a way to implement our suggestion or work with us in some way.
Yeah. I mean, there's always gonna be some variation to every project. So we did, and I think there was an effort to get the parks director to come to a meeting like last year, the report to talk about the pool renovation. So that was like, it wasn't perfect, but that was an attempt to tell the Commission on Disability about that project. And then you guys wrote a letter of support for the grant application. So that's like a city project. That's one of the parks directors working on. The other example I guess I would just use is that sometime in the next year, we have a project that's going to be a connection from the bike path to the town new school. The goal is that it's going to be an ADA accessible pathway from the rail trail, so like near the skating rink at Williston, and build a connection from the bike path up to Park Street and go, and then Park Street's going to get changed, like the sidewalk will get renovated, but that's not a city project. That's going to be Mass DOT. So sometime within the next year, Mass DOT will hold a public hearing, and that's I'm going to attend, like the planning department's going to attend that public hearing, and maybe that would be a good opportunity for the Commission on Disability to attend that public hearing and hear about the project and provide input. So that's just my way of saying, like, we have city projects, and then we have a project like Mass DOT projects where we're all just invited at the same time. So we should keep talking about how we can make that process better.
So
Great.
you didn't actually start the letter, right? Because you said this, I don't think there's a draft to go over.
All right. Yep.
Right,
Right,
no, I tried, but I just,
So,
I'll say one more thing.
Yeah.
I know that we're getting recorded and things, but we've sometimes heard that even city council doesn't feel like they're aware of projects. Sometimes
Okay.
projects sometimes just take shape. For a lot of these boards and committees, sometimes there's no formal requirement that anybody signs off, right? But I think maybe that's the point, is that we can do better.
yeah,
So I just wanted to kind of express that, is that there's some projects that don't require city council approval, and that means that they don't really get
Okay.
a shot at looking at it or providing comments, because it's not required.
yeah.
Thank you for sharing that.
And I mean, like the Commission on Disability has a special role, like beyond other advisory committees, because of state law. But also, I mean, I kind of feel like there are situations where other relevant committees don't get consulted on a project, right? Like the crossing on PaceNet, for example, the Manhattan Rail Trail Committee, someone from there told me, like, no one asked them about that design. Like, they didn't even know, they had no idea that it was gonna happen. That it was gonna look like that.
All right, so.
Yeah,
So I guess we could try to write one at some point. And then, does it have to be approved by everybody before it's sent out, right?
The letter.
yeah,
I think it's
Yeah.
desirable to try to do that, but I mean, Eli, could I ask a question? So like the Amherst
right.
example, would there be any way to find out how Amherst is doing it? Or, because
yeah,
whether everybody agreed that the Amherst Commission on Disability would get a review, or whether they created a regulation, or if they did anything that we could not copy, but
right.
borrow.
That is a good
Example.
question.
Or Northampton. I think Northampton's got a pretty good, system in place for certain things. I just don't know if they have that.
Right.
in.
Yeah, so I don't know, and it was so long ago that I was on there. But yeah, we should find that out before as part of writing the letter.
Okay. So are you,
Good,
you're gonna ask somebody or not?
Yeah, I guess, yeah, I will
See the
track
way
that
you-
down.
Okay. All right, is there anything else on that?
I see Stan's got his hand up.
Yep. I was wondering if it might be better off to start off by requesting that we approve, that we advise on projects rather than approve on projects.
We're not
Uh,
asking.
So that at least they would have to share the project with us. And if there was something that we saw there that was not ADA approval, then we could let them know, and then the ADA regulations would kick in.
So first, I am not ADA trained, so I wouldn't even be able to tell a project anything. You're not ADA trained.
Well, I am a little bit, right, I did take that training from the state.
Would you know
I
to
would-
approve things on a project or not?
No, I mean, I would,
Because I would not.
couldn't, I would not be considered an expert, I couldn't do little technical details, right?
Yeah, and Stan, we weren't trying to have the power of approving something. We wouldn't have that kind of power.
No, I know, but I thought we were about to ask for that power.
No, that's what
Oh,
we're
okay.
saying. We're just asking to be included, not,
Okay.
Yeah.
That's basically what I'm supporting. Yes. Okay.
go ahead.
I feel like base level compliance is kind of your job, right, as the ADA coordinator. I think our review wouldn't necessarily be about regulations so much as impact. Impact on, other aspects that might be problematic from maybe a ADA perspective in the future, like, I don't know.
Yeah, I think it's good, and I'm glad that Stan just kind of clarified, because, I think when you were presenting it, fine, but I think like you said something about approving projects, so I think that was the confusion, but I think advising on projects is the goal. I could be wrong, but my understanding of the ADA coordinator is I do not enforce like ADA compliance on new projects. There's so the building inspector for especially for private development, that responsibility is the building inspector's responsibility. Public projects, in my understanding of the ADA coordinator, is to facilitate responses to complaints about city facilities or city services that that there's some violation of ADA or some even concern of a violation of ADA regulations, like based on a city building or a city service or something. The ADA coordinator responsibilities are pretty minimal, like pretty narrow.
Okay.
But all that being said, the way I could see this happening is that 9 out of 10 projects have a professional consulting firm or like someone's responsible for designing the project.
Right, so they'd
come and do a presentation of the project at an early enough stage that you have input, right? I think that's what your goal would be.
exactly.
And then the city, even like the DPW and the city engineer, we don't really design projects.
Yeah.
Like, I don't design a project. I try to get money so that we can hire people to design it.
Yeah.
And I think that's the goal, is that there's a trick in there. It's tricky, but I think the goal would be that a project gets presented to the commission early enough that if you saw, like Jeff saw something like on the ground that we all see doesn't make sense, we would be able to advise them of like, that doesn't quite add up. Like, that's not how this crosswalk works. Space flows, exactly.
Yeah.
So, right? That's
exactly
Okay.
what I'm thinking.
I'm thinking the way the door opens in 7-Eleven and the way chairs have to position themselves to go in, probably technically ADA compliant, but completely impractical.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like going to Subway myself.
So then we'll come back with a letter. And I can email that out and people read it. They just can't comment back as a group, right?
I think you can email a draft, and then the idea would be if you want to discuss changes, do it at the
Yeah.
next meeting or something.
Okay. All right.
Wait,
So the next thing, I know you asked about streets, streets that were bad, like finding out what streets
Yeah.
were bad. So I just put something online, and so, somebody said, they just said Pepin, the whole thing, I guess. Spring Street to Elliott, they said the street and the sidewalk. Is that one you already have on your radar?
Oh, I don't know off the top
Oh,
of my head.
okay. And then somebody else said the sidewalk
You
on
can't
Elliott.
be kidding me.
And then another person said Liberty sidewalk. I'm not sure like how they were writing this. Liberty sidewalk with accessible crosswalk at Adams.
Oh,
Like it needs one?
Yeah, Liberty and Adams, yes,
Yes.
Liberty is a street that like has come up a lot.
Okay. But there's not not already an accessible crosswalk there.
There's actually not a crosswalk at all.
Okay, because it sounded like the accessible crosswalk needs to be fixed. But maybe they're saying they want one there.
Right.
Yeah, it
Okay.
needs to happen,
That makes
yeah.
sense, yes.
Makes sense, there's nothing.
Okay. All right, well, I can send those to you.
Would you? That'd be helpful, yes. I mean, I need to be careful, like for my own purposes, not to make any promises, but
Oh,
I
yeah,
think
yeah.
even just the Liberty Street, the condition of the sidewalk on Liberty Street has come up a lot. It's a big project to figure out how to fix that.
It's on a hill.
Right, but we gotta figure out the way to get it onto a list and make it a higher priority. I mean, I think that's the goal.
I just said that the COD was curious about the top 5 streets that people thought, like I didn't make a.
Are they talking about Upper Liberty Street, like from between Riverside
The Liberty
and,
sidewalk.
and town, like probably, yeah, from the disabled housing to town is also bad.
Yeah, I mean, I would say like
Yeah.
from
That
Adams
would be-
Street to Union Street, like that whole
Yeah.
stretch.
Yeah, that's weird. I was pushing a bad chair the other day up there and I was like, yeah, this sucks more than I thought it would.
Yeah, we'll never be able to fix the hill. We'll never be able to fix the hill,
Yeah,
but the condition of that sidewalk is not in good shape.
yeah.
There's a lot of crossings that are probably not
I
ADA
used to
compliant.
walk up the hill a
Yeah.
lot.
Right. And
I'm
they're,
not complaining about it.
right, and we're not just doing this for people using manual wheelchairs, right?
Yeah.
It's a whole range of
Yeah. that's-
conditions that we're trying to accommodate as best as possible.
And then, Omar said that you guys were speaking about the ordinance, the accessibility ordinance.
He reached out to me. We haven't talked about it yet, but he
Got it.
reached out to try to see how to help move that forward.
One thing,
Go ahead.
we could look about Easthampton,
What about
What about
Easthampton?
Easthampton? Yeah.
fix the trailer over there.
Yeah. The crosswalk,
Yeah,
you mean?
trailer.
The crosswalk, yeah. I
It's
think when-
crack.
Yeah, all that construction is
Yeah,
like
can't
screwing up where
Yeah.
crosswalks are marked and it's hard to
Yeah.
tell where they are. Yep,
Yeah.
you're right, Bob.
I was like, yeah,
We've gotten some complaints about even the painted
Yeah,
crosswalks on
right,
Union
right,
Street, and
right.
we are being told that. So this is I think the DPW is sensitive
Right.
because the contractor tells them one thing and then they do something totally different. But they said that they're pretty close to wrapping up for the season, and then as they wrap up, they're supposed to paint the crosswalks on Union Street again.
yeah,
For now, for the winter, so they'll
Okay.
paint them in the spring. So that's supposed to be happening next couple days
okay,
to get the crosswalks repainted.
yeah.
The pavement, should be meeting basic accessibility requirements. It was problematic the couple days, like it's probably the week
Yeah.
that they were actively
Yeah.
digging, especially in front of Riverside. But they've put blacktop back down. That would be the kind of thing where if someone's encountering an issue that is really problematic, we gotta that's another thing we can try to find out on the way for the commission to inform the DPW
Yeah.
that like, in a construction zone or something. And there's a problem where they do close sidewalks temporarily. And my understanding is that is allowed, but we should be watching that. Like, cause I think they're gonna stop Union Street construction for the winter, and then in the spring, that's when we as a group can probably make sure that looking at that.
What's going on? I don't know. What's the scope of our influence, I guess, over or the city's influence over the construction in front of Manchester's Ace? In front of that, you know, in front of or where Manchester's used to be, the new CSO building.
Yeah. I think the sidewalk should be passable.
Well, there sometimes are, sometimes not, and passable for whom? Passable for me sucking my gut in, or passable for someone in a standard to wide wheelchair. You know, I mean, I have to assess whether I have thin people walking with me to the coffee shop to do, I mean, I gotta be what? I mean, that's kind of, it is practical considerations like that. It's not, are these guidelines, is this X feet? It's like, will I fit on the sidewalk? I don't care what the guidelines are. Will someone who's wider than I am, like, will they feel so cramped that they step off and trip?
Yeah. I would like to, can we add to the next agenda, writing a letter about Union Street construction? Eli, I'm not trying to take away the importance of getting involved in future projects, but I think I'm willing to draft something for the next meeting.
Yeah.
Because I think there's an opportunity now as they close up shop for the winter.
Yeah.
To write a letter to DPW and have them ask the contractor to make sure that they are complying with ADA requirements, like during construction.
Yeah.
Because it's not just Manchester. I think that because I think next construction season is when they're going to start working on all the sidewalks.
Yeah.
So I think it'll become more important if they are going to block off. They're using these signs to say sidewalks closed, but if it is a curb and not an accessible ramp to crossing to the other side, then I don't think that would meet the basic ADA requirements for construction. So I'm willing to take a shot at drafting a letter that we can review at the next meeting. And it'll be aimed at the spring construction season.
Yeah.
And do you think you'll have had a talk with Omar by then about the ordinance by next month?
I think I'll have talked to him. I don't know if we'll have like a ordinance language ready.
Yeah, and I can be sure, I don't see that as in conflict with anything that I'm trying to do at all. I think it'd be great if we do that.
All right. And then I put the PSA out that we made, the snow one. I put it out a couple times, but I know we were thinking about adding those pictures that you sent, right? Last year you sent pictures of snow.
Yeah.
So how do we update that to now?
Adding more pictures into that video.
Or pictures of actually Easthampton, because that was Northampton.
If you have the pictures, we should, if you would email, I think emailing Easthampton Media.
So you emailed them to the group, but all of my old emails are not.
I can check out what I sent. I think I had some email clearing thing and I forgot it was in the past year.
Okay.
Yeah. Up to what?
Is it just the pictures or did we want to update anything else? I don't remember.
Well, do you want still pictures to be added or do you want new video to be added?
I think he just sent pictures.
No.
No, just
So
still
loud.
pictures.
I'll reach out to Easthampton Media.
Yeah.
And ask them, because I think we haven't had any snow events yet. If they can get video of Easthampton this winter.
Yeah.
And maybe they can pictures of Easthampton into the video. I don't know how complicated it is for them to edit it or make a new video, but I can ask.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty, what we're talking about is pretty static, like I don't see any value in having video rather than still images, personally. Unless it's showing people trying to navigate through like a sidewalk with snow on it, but we haven't done anything like that before.
To me,
What's up?
I heard speaker too loud.
What?
This is too loud?
Yeah, speaker too loud. Yeah.
Oh,
I want to
you
know.
can turn it down a few times.
I'm alright.
I don't know.
I thought I'm alright.
Angelique, did you say that you shared the video again? The
Couple
current one?
times, yeah, in the Easthampton groups.
Okay. 'Cause we should ask the city, this is Lindsay, in the mayor's office, we should ask her to share it on
Wait a
the city
minute,
page.
it's on me?
Yeah, there's a camera there.
Oh. Oh, me.
Whoever talks, go on screen.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Alright,
There are three cameras, right? There's one there,
yeah,
and the one right in front of you.
right. Absolutely.
okay. I can't believe I forgot that. My brain's not working
I'm
either.
looking up the,
Thank you.
Good job, Jeff.
And then, what else? So, recruiting new members. So, we were gonna have people go to the indoor farmers market. We haven't done it yet. Is there anywhere else besides the farmers market that you guys recommend? Because like sometimes we can't do it. So I don't know. I mean, Stan, I know you can't do it either. So don't worry.
Yeah, and I can do it anytime as long as
Okay.
someone else will do it with me.
Yeah.
If some of our members are going to be at the farmers market, the indoor farmers market, that would be a perfect opportunity to walk into Easthampton Media, which is right there, and talk to them about what our needs are for for adding to the PSA.
How long is
isn't
the
there a
farmer's
person
market?
that's already
4
on that though? I
4
mean,
hours, yeah, 10 to 2.
So as far as new members, there was a guy that wrote to me who seemed really excited, but he must not have actually read fully what I wrote, because then when I sent him the agenda,
Oh,
he's like, oh, it's during the day, like I can't come.
Huh.
So I'm like, yeah, definitely. And I tried to explain it because he's like, oh, can you move it? But then these people can't come. So, and then there's somebody named Courtney, I think it's Chamura. She's the one, she just actually had brain surgery, she said, so she can't come to the meeting, but. And then there's
That's
another
too bad.
person that's been saying they wanted to join for like the past 6 months. They just haven't come to a meeting yet, so. I don't know. So. Louise, are you ever up for any sort of recruiting or not really?
Yes, in theory. I
In
mean,
theory.
in theory, I'm I'm still mostly isolated. I'm thinking. I'm trying to think if there's anybody I know.
Okay, so
I could probably. I've just been sick, so not this coming week, but I could probably help do a table or farmers market stuff over the winter.
okay. And what
Okay,
about
so-
you? Are you super busy?
I mean, not in theory, like, No, not like, so every other weekend, I do have my, you know, every other weekend for sure, I have my daughter. Plus, if her mom takes an extra shift on Sundays, so I mean, I'm touch and go.
Okay,
It's like I'm someone that you would call the night before if the person you had lined up canceled and you didn't.
got it.
I'm willing to
Very
be that
specific.
person. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so Louise, if, like, yeah, if, when you feel like you're out of isolation, please get in touch with me. We can,
All right, who's talking? Eli?
see, this is Eli, yes.
Yeah, okay, the camera isn't showing you.
Oh, so you're right, it's not.
Showing his shoulder.
I just put it on here.
Oh, okay. Yeah, maybe it's because I'm not looking at I wasn't looking at the camera. But anyway, yeah, so get in touch with me when you're in a position where you can do that. And we can set it up.
Great.
Thank you.
So the only other things that are on here are the survey subcommittee and the PTSD subcommittee, which is, we were waiting to see about having new members. So is there any other new business that people want to talk about? What about you, Stan or Louise? Because otherwise we can adjourn or leave. All right. So I'm gonna make a motion to adjourn. Anybody second it? Perfect. All right. So we're all good with adjourning?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yes.
Love. Thank you for coming, everybody. And the
Yeah.
next date is January 11th.
This government meeting is brought to you by Eastworks and our local cable subscribers.